Hello everyone, my name is Sloth Bear, and today I'm going to be talking about why the Civil War wasn't very civil. The Civil War is one of, if not my favorite times in history. And no, I'm not a history teacher, a reenactor, or a philosopher. I'm just a person who wants to post their essays on the internet. And today's subject will be the Great American Civil War. So yes you, may be asking, Sloth, what is the Civil War? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear viewer. The Civil War is a melting pot between people's rights, freedom, and slavery. Isn't that just kind of cool? Not the slavery. The slavery was not cool. Now that you know the gist of it, now let's finally get into the meat and potatoes of this essay. The Civil War started on April 12th, 1861, and ended on May 26, 1865. The Civil War consisted of two groups, the United States Union and the Confederate States of America. These two groups of people fought over one thing: slavery. The reason this became a conflict is because the US was deciding whether or not there should be more slave states or fewer slave states. But that was only one of the major things to cause it. The main person to cause the Civil War was the one, the only, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was very anti-slavery. And because of this, 7 American states decided to create the Confederate States of America. And because of this, the Confederates decided to take over a couple of the forts in their states. And after this, they decided to wage war on Union forts. After these attacks, you could guess some people were thinking the Union was the new American power. So, you can see that a lot of people joined their cause. So now they have the army. All they need is a leader. So, on 1861, Jefferson Davis was made the President of the Confederate States of America. And so, the war has come to full effect. And now, we have the cool things to talk about. The battles that were fought. So, as the Union were moving more into the Eastern theaters, they now knew what they were fighting for. They were fighting for the abolishment of slavery in the United States. So, on the year 1863, 2 years into the war, Mr. Abe Lincoln has issued the Emancipation Proclamation. And this is one of the most important things in American history, next to the rebellion against the United Kingdom, of course. This paper makes it to where any slave living or escaping any rebel state free. So this paper affected more than 3.5 million of the 4 million enslaved people in the country. So you can guess the Confederates were really good and pissed. So you'll never guess what they wanted to do next. They wanted to fight, but someone beat them to it, and that was the Union. And so what they started was the siege of Vicksburg. The Vicksburg siege was a part of the, named after it, the Vicksburg Campaign. And this campaign was led by the great Union Major General Ulysses S. Grant. And the main reason for this campaign was for the Union to take control of the fort in the last Confederate section of the Mississippi River. To capture it, finish the second part of the Northern strategy. So taking over this fort now gives the Union a great advantage against the Confederate States. The Confederates surrendered on July 4th, 1863, and was combined with the General Robert E. Lee's defeat at Gettysburg. What's the Battle of Gettysburg, you may ask? Well, the Battle of Gettysburg is the bloodiest battle in American history. Alright, we are 5 minutes in, And now we get to talk about the Battle of Gettysburg. What are you doing here?
And why aren't you in uniform? It's about time you got here!
Here you go, Your Majesty.
Now that we are really ready to talk about Gettysburg. The Battle of Gettysburg started on July 1st and lasted 2 days. At the start of the battle, a group of Confederate soldiers aimed to capture the small town of Gettysburg. And as they marched to Gettysburg, they were taken by surprise by a group of Union soldiers. After an afternoon of battling, the Union soldiers retreated to some hills around the town, and the Confederate troops occupied Gettysburg. As the day rose, both sides had massive armies to fight for Gettysburg, whether to defend it or to take it back. During the day, the Union set up an artillery on the high point overlooking Gettysburg, and as General Lee ordered his men to take the high point, and as they were taking the high ground, they realized the Union had forgotten to defend one of the most important grounds, and that ground was Little Round Top and Round Top. And if the Confederates take this top, they were surely going to win the battle. But the Union quickly found out about this, and they rushed all their men to guard the top. And the man to lead those men to the bitter end was Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, and his men fought for hours to defend the hill. He defended 5 different Confederate assaults. And after pushing all of these men, his men were out of ammo, and because of this, Chamberlain ordered his men to do a bayonet charge, one last thing to defeat the Confederates. And it worked. The Confederates were taken by surprise, and they were chased out of the hill, winning the battle for Round Top. And after this battle, the Union still had the high ground, and now the Confederates had lost many of their men who were either dead or taken. So, General Lee ordered one of the most controversial things in his career. He was going to charge the center of the Union Army, even though many of his friends and allies told him to cancel the attack. He did what he thought was right. And well, he was very wrong. So I would be thinking to myself, after the fact, that I just sent all my men to die by cannon fire and line infantry. Like, that's really sad. After the Battle of Gettysburg, the Union did naval blockades at Confederate ports, and because of this, the Confederates began to fall. And also because of this, the Union attacked them from all sides, leading to the fall of Atlanta, which was a big help for the Union. And so you can now guess that the Union were going to win the war. And after lots of other major battles, Lee surrendered to Grant, finishing the end of the war. I would just like to thank everyone for watching this video. I spent a good amount of a day and a half on this video, writing the essay and editing. And I know, I didn't put all the major battles, but that would make this video another 20 to 30 minutes, and I gotta go to work soon. So, I would like just to thank you again for watching this video, and just give it a like. And if there's any other things you would like me to post, make a video about, please put those in the comments. And so, I hope everyone has a good day, and if you're sleeping, good night.